So the Ravens had the best record in the league. It they're in the driver's seat now for the 1 seed in the AFC. They just got to beat Miami next week, which won't be a walk in the park. But Waddle's got a high ankle sprain. There's been some offensive line injuries. Their defensive line, I don't think Miami is quite the same team maybe they were 6 weeks ago. They're definitely more beatable. So the Ravens can get the 1 seed. They get a bye. You'd have to go through Baltimore the first 2 rounds. Then would be in Vegas for the Super Bowl, which I think a dome would be good for that team because they're fast. So to me, it's like I think they're legit favorites now.
I didn't even see what the odds were. I've been, I was screaming about the Niners at plus 220 all week. Now they're only plus 230, and the Ravens are plus 460. So
that's right now. Is that on FanDuel?
I feel like that's on FanDuel. I feel like they haven't. They disrespected this win here. Really? You think they leave it open like that? I don't know.
I think they should flip that. Yeah, you're right. They should be updating that. How do they? That doesn't make sense.
It's bizarre.
I think it was Raheem who said on the Ringer Gambling Show, the best bet all week, if you thought the Ravens had a chance to win this game, was the Lamar MVP odds.
I said that.
Because it was, you said it. Plus 450?
We've talked about that on Against All Odds. It was 5-1. And we were saying, like, if you like the Ravens to win Sunday or Monday night,
just take
might
the
as well
MVP
take Lamar.
instead.
Yeah.
So they were like plus what? Plus 200 to win the game today?
Yeah.
But the MVP odds were 5-1. And now I would say I'm going to say it's pretty much a wrap. I don't think Sam Darnold did enough today either to get in there.
To win MVP?
No. No, he came in. As we're doing this, was Purdy 19-1 when you looked at this earlier?
Yeah, he was just 19-1
when I looked.
He's dropped
to 6th.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
oh, my God.
We've never seen a shift like that from one game, and yet it makes sense.
Maybe we weren't monitoring this week to week like we used to. Maybe we're monitoring it more closely, but I don't remember it swinging week to week like this. It feels like since week 4, it's been. So I remember that one year when Russell Wilson, after 4 or 5 weeks, and we were doing Russell Wilson, he's never won. Maybe this is the year, but this is way it's been like each week there's a new guy. Dak week seemed like it was 5 months ago. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think when there's no Mahomes in the mix and no Rodgers and no Brady, it really is anyone's game, right?
Yeah. Well, on the Ravens side, this felt Super Bowl-y, this game.
Yeah, definitely felt like a playoff game.
If it's not San Francisco, who is it? Because it's probably your stupid team.
Why?
Like, could this be a Baltimore Dallas?
What? Based on this weekend? No.
Was that was that like a horrible loss for you, or there was some moral victory pieces in there? Like that drive Dak had was about as good as anything I've seen from Dak in his career. That was a clutch drive that if his defense holds up, we're talking about, oh my God, Dallas, they finally arrived. Here we go. And instead you gave up the game-winning drive.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't trust the coaches more than anything. And I praised McCarthy last week, and I hated him for handing off to the fullback on 1st and goal. Not even really the fullback's fault. It never got to him. And I didn't like the defense for the fewest pressures in 3 years. And then Dan Quinn, we were joking about, hey, do you let the Dolphins score from the 40? But they were in no man's land with like 4.5 minutes left. Don't let this be their last drive. Don't let them line up for a field goal. And that's what they did. It's exactly what they did. They gave them 5-yard passes all the way down to the 15 or 20. And that sucked. So I thought they didn't play great, but they were still in a good position to win. But again, I don't know if that game mattered as much. You just don't want to keep losing games like this is the problem.
That game and this Ravens-Niners game felt like the level of play was a little bit higher than everything else we watched over the course of the week. Like, to me, those all felt like teams I could see in a Super Bowl, and they'll have a little bit of flaws. Like, I think the Ravens, their running game at some point against the wrong team, the fact that they don't have an awesome running back is going to hurt them a little bit. But Lamar 3-4 times a game just creates something out of nothing. Where, that's something the Patriots, like with the quarterbacks we've had the last couple of years, when you don't have that quarterback who could just create a wow play out of nowhere, he does it once a quarter. But I thought those forward, especially with what happened with KC today, what Buffalo looked like, you go through and it's like, those are probably the 4 best teams.
And Philly looked like a loss today, right? I mean, basically went back and forth between maybe covering a giant number and losing the game outright between a team.
Well, the long touchdown late was just outrageous. Like that can never happen. You're
Giants
trying to
touchdown?
prove to us you're trying to prove to us you're a serious Super Bowl contender and you righted the ship, and then you give up this long touchdown, and even at the end of the game, you're barely holding on to this 8-point win where the Giants have the ball and they have a chance to at least tie it. That game did not make me feel better about the Eagles.
What kind of odds could I give you that a participant in last year's Super Bowl doesn't win a playoff game this year? The Chiefs or Eagles don't win. They'll both have a home game. Do they survive that home game? Because if I'm on the other side, I see those Chiefs. I'm like, if I'm the Browns, I'm like, oh God, yeah. We got a Max Crosby. We got 2 Max Crosbys on our team, you know? I love to play Mahomes. We'd love to chase him around. And Eagles, I don't know. You throw the Rams at them or a team like that, they'd be in trouble too.